Music down. And we are live on air. So, again, thank you all for tuning in, hanging out with me tonight. I know it's been a while. I know I've been absent. I've been gone. I haven't been streaming lately. Haven't been on the podcast. Haven't been able to share my opinions, give my feelings on Pantheon, what's happening, what's going on. And guys, I'm truly sorry about that. I really am. I personally would like to say just thank you all for the support. I've had so many people just come and say, hey, when do you go to stream again? Send me IM, send me, direct messages via Twitter and things like that. Just basically asking me to get back on here and do some more podcasts, some more streams and things like that. And I can't tell you how encouraging that is. So for everybody listening out there on Pantheon Radio, thank you so much for the support. For everybody on Twitch, thank you so much for the support. I can't say enough about the community that we've built up so far. The amount of people that have been interested in just hanging out with us on a nightly basis, hearing what I have to say. I don't have words for it, guys. I just, the support, the love, the just everything coming together. You all truly are making this a unique experience for me. So I absolutely appreciate it. With that being said, I want to go ahead and just kind of jump into tonight. I've been gone for a few weeks now, of course, and I have been just absorbing Pantheon information as it comes out. I've been loving it. I'm a healer, a support class by trade. So, when I saw the healer classes come out in the reveal this past newsletter, I jumped all over it. And I got to tell you, I am so excited to see the direction that Pantheon is taking with classes, with just the general mindset of how the game's going to come together, how it should be played. For me, I feel very encouraged about what they're doing behind the scenes to make Pantheon come together. So real quick, let's go over kind of what's happened over the summer. Just a real quick relapse here. We've had 9 class reveals. I've waited 2 years for class reveals. 2 years. And I know that we had like the cleric, the shaman, and the rogue. We had those revealed and they were good. But really, it didn't give us a lot of great detail. It was just kind of like a snippet, a very, very, very small snippet. And it was kind of old data at this point. So when I heard about the class reveals coming up, and I saw the rogue and the ranger and the monk come out the first month, and then we realized that we're going to get the rest of them each month after that. I personally, I can't tell you how excited I got about this, but I became honestly a little bit nervous, if you will, because I had built this up and I had anticipated this so greatly for so long. I didn't want to build it up too much and let myself down. So I was a little bit nervous that I had kind of over exaggerated what these classes were going to be, what this game was going to, provide for me to play. And me being a healer main, I have to say, this last newsletter I was holding my breath on. I was truly holding my breath on. I had no idea what was going to come out. I was just sitting there waiting with anticipation of, oh goodness, please don't dramatically change these classes to some craziness that I can't even comprehend. And I don't think they've done that at all. So I'm going to do a quick kind of relapse of what I understand the classes as. First and foremost, we'll just start from the Ranger. So the Ranger class came out, and the Ranger for me, this utility of ranged and melee DPS mixed in with this, skill set of momentum, and they're using this resource to go in and out of fights. They're very active, very movement heavy based class, which provides a very unique feel for me as far as MMO goes, because I love the old style MMO, but the old style MMO usually has like a pretty static, hey, if you're within melee range, you're subject to potential AoE at any given time, or mobs potentially ready to turn you any given time, throw damage your way. And if you're at range, you're a little bit more safe. So the Ranger kind of has this balancing act of getting in close to and getting out without taking all this damage that some of those melee classes can take and can absorb a little bit more easily. And I think that's really exciting. I mean, it's a risk versus reward in itself with the class. They're using this, combat resource called momentum to really push and pull themselves forward in and out of fights and things. And for me, that's really exciting. So really, really happy with what I saw in the Ranger class. I think the DPS and the action of a Ranger class will be very exciting to play. And then we have the Rogue, and the Rogue really kind of surprised me. I anticipated the stealth. I anticipated the backstab. I anticipated these guys are really handy with some daggers, small knives, things like that. And, sneaky little guys can get in there and do massive amounts of damage. But when I saw some abilities that really incorporated them having, enhanced climbing abilities and able to make, some makeshift bridges and things like that, or use some rope and stuff for their party to help with scaling the terrain, I was really excited about that. So I think these guys are really they're touching on something that Pantheon's doing that I'm really excited about, which is having vertical terrain, having difficult terrain to travel across, whether you're jumping across an open cliff, whether you're climbing up the side of a mountain, or what it may be. I think the Rogue really kind of incorporates a lot of that exploration with their stealthiness. They can get around where they're not seen. They can go places that they can't go. And not only can they go places that they can't go because they're hidden, but because they have this innate climbing ability, or they're just better at getting around obstacles than some others are. So I really like the Rogue. I really like what they've done with it. And I really like the fact that they've kept that bread and butter focus of, hey, I'm going to take some daggers and, I'm going to utilize backstab and things like that. I really enjoy that. They've also thrown in some alchemy type, aspects to them. So that's really neat. I'm really enjoying what they're doing with the Rogue. And then you have the Monk, to finish out the first reveal, which, again, that off-tank, that melee specialization type, class, they can get in there, they can take a little bit of a hit, but they can also dish it out as well. They're the bread and butter of a fighter. They're in there to get dirty, and they're in there to stay. They're not going to back down. They're not going to run from the fight. They're there to be solid and to put out that DPS, as well as be able to take some hits if needed. So I love what the Monk's able to do. Also with their Feign Death ability, really able to pull like more or less no other class is able to do. So very exciting there. Between the DPS classes, I see the Rogue as being kind of the most squishy. I will say less tankish class. They might not be able to take the hit nearly as much as the other ones, but they seem to, in my mind, be the ones that would put out some of the most, consistent DPS with their abilities, with their alchemy, with their daggers, backstab, and things like that. Really getting in there and doing some solid DPS. I can see the Ranger also with their in and out abilities, getting in and out of the fight, really having to utilize both melee and range combat, move around very fast. I can see them being very good DPS as well. And then the Monk, I'm not going to overshadow the Monk. I think the Monk is going to be very solid DPS, and I expect it to be probably close to on par with the other two, but they're also going to have that unique ability of being able to stand there and take a hit when needed as well. So I think each one of the classes has something unique. They also bring kind of their core focus to the fight. So I'm really excited about that. And then we had the tanks come out, and to me, I'm gonna make it really simple, really short. I saw a tank that can just take a beating like no other. I saw a tank that can dish out just as much damage as they take. And I saw a tank that can really provide some potentially adequate healing in small amounts and small doses throughout the party with their ability sets. So with the Warrior, I saw them as just really the sponge of damage. I mean, they're just going to stand there and just take the damage, just absorb it, just find ways to mitigate that, find ways to reduce that, but they're going to be there to take all the damage. And then I look at the Paladin, and they're going to be able to take a lot of damage as well, but they're also going to be able to provide some additional healing support. So, if you're lacking on healing support, that Paladin tank may be a very vital asset to your group. And then you have the Dire Lord, who not necessarily there to, they're going to take a beating, don't get me wrong. They're not going to be wearing that heavy plate like the Paladin or Warrior are, but they're going to be there, and they're going to be there to do some damage. They're going to be there to put in some hurt. And they're going to take probably just as much as they give, but they're going to be able to take some, give some, and through that combination, that balance there of take and give with the Dire Lord, I see them as being a very devastating tank in small groups. So I'm excited about that. And then we got to the healers. So the healers came out, and I kind of anticipated cleric, godlike healing. That was my first thought. Cleric's going to come out here. They're going to be able to just, heal for heal. They're kings. They're gods, is what it is. And then I saw the shaman, and I said, okay, what can the shaman do that makes them unique, that makes them vital? And I saw a very diverse, a very unique type of mindset with the shaman, in my mind at least. One that really brings risk versus reward into play, where as you have to decide, you can do damage, you can do debuffs, you can do heals. Great. But you have to decide when you need to do each one of those and what's most critical at what time. And I think that's what really makes the shaman unique, is, in my mind, is they have to decide when they're going to utilize their skill sets, or when they're going to apply their dot or their hot. They're going to have to when to know when to apply that debuff. It's not going to be just something that you apply on every single mob. You're going to run out of mana. You're going to run out of mana within no time. You have so many different abilities at your fingertips that you can utilize, which is great. But you also have to remember that the more you utilize, the more mana you consume, the more mana you use. And that's my thought, is they're going to be a class that really has to pay attention to what they're doing at all times. Really has to use the most effective and efficient way of healing and mitigating that damage that they can throughout the encounters. And a class, in my mind, that potentially can really drain through some mana because they have a variety of different spell sets available to them. So I'm really excited to see the shaman and how that comes together. I think that, between the shaman and cleric, very exciting. And then we have the druid, and that was a little bit of a curveball for me. I know that I heard some other people say that the druid reminds them of some other classes in other games and things like that, but to be honest with you, I'm going to have to see the druid in action to really comprehend what they're bringing to the table. I think they're an extremely vital asset to the support classes. I think they provide a very unique heal style. They provide a way of healing that will benefit some of the other tanks, some of the DPS tremendously, and will probably be hard to heal with some of the other classes maybe. They may not be the best combination, or they may have a very select combination of classes that they really excel with, and then others not so much. So I'm really, really excited to see what the druid has to offer when we see those live. That's one class that I'm looking forward to seeing in action more so than reading. When I read it, I think, yeah, it sounds great. It sounds like a really cool, really cool concept. Them utilizing climate potentially, like they didn't have a resource. So I don't know if you read the reveals, but a druid didn't have a resource. And then a tweet came out by Joppa, which kind of hinted towards climates or atmospheres being somewhat of a druid resource, if you will, which that thought alone, we could go on for probably an hour, but I'll leave it at that. So I'm really excited to see the druid in action, see what that combat resource is, whether that climate or atmosphere has to come into play. I'm assuming climate more so than not. And, with their manipulation and connection to climates, I just see them being a very unique heal style that allows certain groups to excel in ways that, you maybe couldn't even imagine. And then at the same time, it really hinders other groups. They don't do nearly as well as other groups. So I'm excited to see what happens there. But all in all, I got to say this. I had a lot of discussions, and we haven't talked about the caster classes because those are coming out. So we have the shaman, we have the enchanter, we have the wizard coming out next month. Very excited to see those. But I haven't talked about the fact that I don't think all these classes are going to be equal. And with that in mind, I have to be very blunt about this because there's a lot of people that don't agree with this opinion. There's a lot of people that don't quite see it this way, and I get that. But each one of these classes in their respective roles is, I guess you could say, they excel at what they do. Let me put it to you this way. When I look at a cleric, I look at a cleric as a pure healing class. A druid and a shaman will never out-heal a cleric. Period. But they have other ways of mitigating that damage or providing that same support to keep their group alive. And it may not be through quote unquote healing, but they have ways to support their group for survivability in ways the cleric doesn't. So if you're looking for just straight up healing, just raw heal through the damage type abilities, the cleric is going to be God. They're going to reign supreme in my mind. But the shaman and druid will have ways to excel in their own ways, excel in their own rights. And I believe that's what I like to see about the support classes. And the tanks are the same way. And I believe that the warrior tank is going to be able to absorb damage, to tank that damage better than any of them. I believe the paladin and the dire lord will be able to do it in their own way. But if you're just talking about raw damage output, I think the warrior is going to be able to take that damage and deal with it better than any of the other classes. Period. And when it comes to the paladin and dire lord, I think they're going to be able to do what they need to do to provide a tank in the group. But as far as taking that damage and reducing that damage that's being taken, I don't think it's going to be nearly as effective as the warrior. Doesn't mean they're not going to be able to do the job. It's just they're going to provide other assets to the group that the warrior maybe can't. So, you look at the ranger and the rogue and the monk as well. I believe each one of these is going to provide assets to the group that the other one can't. It's just, guys, these classes are unique. Having each one of these classes in a group is a perk. It's a plus. It's, there's going to be downsides to having certain classes over others. There's going to be upsides to having certain classes over others. And I think between the combination of different classes you have within a group, the different play styles, the different personnel, the different ability and skill sets you have, I think each one of these classes at any given time will be extremely vital to the success of a group or raid. And that's what I love to hear. That's what I love to see. So I'm excited to see the casters coming out. We have the caster with the shaman, we have the wizard, and we have the enchanter coming out next month. I'm waiting for that. Once that comes out, I'm going to try to put together a very detailed, quick snippet of where I rank. We'll do a ranking of each one of the classes. And right now, looking at them, I kind of rank them all evenly. And I think that's the intent. But some of them are more tanky than others. Some of them put out more DPS than others. Some of them have more support or healing or mana regen abilities than others. Some of them have different skill sets that are utility skill sets that add value to the group that others can't. And that value can be extremely important come later down the road, in my opinion. So, with all that being said, I'm excited to see what happens next month. And talking about future. So, I've read a few of the tweets from Pantheon. I just want to kind of go over these guys. I don't know about y'all, but I really enjoy reading the tweets that Pantheon puts out. They put out about 2 a week. So, they usually go, I think it's like Monday, maybe Tuesday and Thursday, but I believe it's like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then maybe there's a day missed between, here and there. But they're pretty consistent with these, and I really enjoy them. So, let's see what we had here. We had the challenge. So on the 16th, Pantheon put out a tweet and said, have today's MMORPGs watered down the genre too far? Has the challenge been removed beyond repair? And how do you think this will affect MMORPGs in the future? So I wanted to read this, and I wanted to respond to this in person, over Pantheon Radio, over Twitch, recorded so everybody can hear my opinion on this. The fact of the matter is, it's a yes and no answer. Have they watered down the genre? Absolutely. I believe they have taken what we all loved and adored about an MMORPG, and they have gone so far away from that core concept that it's not even an MMORPG anymore. The reason I started playing MMORPGs was because of the multiplayer aspect, the building of communities, the fact that I was making friends online, and just overall, I just loved being a part of something. That's what I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being a part of something. And I felt like I was a part of something when I started playing MMOs, when I was a kid. And over the years, I can log into 9 out of 10 MMOs out there, and it's like just a solo player game that there's no community, there's no involvement, and that's where the watered down piece is for me. I don't care about the content. I don't care about how easy or hard it is. I just simply care that the community aspect has really kind of drifted. And that was something I love so much. And then they talked about the challenge. Has it been removed beyond repair? No, absolutely not. Now, the watered down piece, that's a struggle for me, because building back a community for MMOs overall is tough. It's something that's going to take time. It's going to take effort. People are going to have to actually jump on board with this. We're going to have to change a culture. We're going to have to change a mindset of individuals who have experiences in the past and now have changed their minds going forward. We're going to have to change people's minds so that when they come into an MMO, when they come into Pantheon for the first time, they want to be a part of something. They don't just want to play a game. They don't want to just play an RPG. They want to actually be a part of a community. That, to me, is the mindset, the shift that we have to do now. Is it too watered down? Have we gone too far? I don't believe so. But is it going to be difficult? I believe it is. I believe it's going to be absolutely difficult to change that culture, to change that mindset. Is it doable? Yes. 100% it is doable. So, has the challenge been removed beyond repair? For certain MMOs, the challenge has been removed beyond repair. They have tried their best to make it as simplistic as possible to encourage anyone to be able to jump in and be successful at some degree, and overall it has removed the challenge beyond repair for certain MMOs. The key going forward is we have to make sure that baseline, that establishment of challenge, is put in from the get-go. You can't put it in at the beginning and then remove it at the end. You can't remove challenge from the beginning and put it in at the end. You have to have it throughout the entire course of the game. So challenge is something that should start at level 1 and should last throughout the entire game. Period. There should be no, oh, well, the game's actually very easy up until you hit level 60. There should be no, well, the game's really tough to level up, but man, once you get max level, it's a breeze. There should be no either or of that. It should be simply, this game requires you to take time and effort and requires some focus to be successful. You got to pay attention. You got to actually know what's going on and pay attention, because if you're not paying attention, you're going to be, overtaken by the challenge of the game itself. So I personally think that challenge has been removed from other MMOs to a point where it's going to be impossible to bring it back into the game without completely disrupting the entire game and rewriting it almost, But as far as new MMOs coming out, I believe if they establish that challenge from the get-go, perfect. It's golden. We're fine with that. So for this message, for this tweet, for this reply, has it been watered down too much? Has the challenge been removed too far? And do you think this will affect MMOs in the future? Yes and no. It's been that way for many MMOs over the years, both watered down and challenge removed. But going forward, I think we can change the culture, we can change the mindset, we can add the challenge back into the game, and I think we can change MMORPGs back into what they should be and what they used to be when we first started playing them and first started falling in love with them back in the early 2000s, and even before then. So that's what I would like to see, and I believe that it's possible, but it really requires kind of a clean slate, which is why I'm so excited about what Pantheon's doing or attempting to do. That's what I like to see. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and just read off the one that was sent out today. Realism. How real to life, I don't even know how to take this seriously, honestly, but how real to life do you like your MMORPGs to be? Is there a limit between how much the game world the game world should include real world elements, and if so, what are they in your opinion? And I don't, guys, I don't know how to respond to this. It's a game. 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 But I get it. Some people are fascinated with the fact of, oh, I couldn't do this in real life. I would never do it in a game. Some people are, hey, if I can ride on a magic dragon for 7 hours a night, then I want to ride a magic dragon because I'm trying to escape the real world. I don't want anything to do with the real world in my game. I don't think there's a real answer to this that's going to be good enough. But I will say this. When it comes to realism in a game, in an MMORPG, I log on every night because I want to put myself in a world that is different than my own. I log in every night because I want to get lost in something that is magical, something that is, right up my alley for where I want to be and what I want to be doing. I want to kind of create my own little persona, my own little world within the game, and I want to be something different than what I experienced in real life most nights. And for me, I don't care if it requires, or I don't care if it has realism in it. I don't mind that. That doesn't bother me at all. To me, what bothers me is if you take that worldly feeling out of it, where it's an open world, where it's somewhere I can explore, I can become my own kind of persona, I can become my own individual, people will get to know me. When you start taking out, again, that community aspect of it, when you start taking out the meaning of players, the meaning of, who they are and what they're able to do, we start taking out the value in the person behind the game. That's when I start losing interest. So whether it's realistic or whether it's completely out in left field with the fantasy piece of it, I think a good balance of it is always nice. But either way, I just want a world to thrive in. I want a world to be able to log into every night and just enjoy the company of others. I want to be able to make myself known. I want to be able to make myself a representation or a representative of the community and what the community should be. So when I look at the realism in a game, I look right past it and I say, what is the community doing? To me, this question doesn't register at all. And I get it. Some people, they really focus on this. This is a big thing for them. But for me, this isn't something I look for in a game. So, I'll go, and I know that, guys, y'all been ripping the McRib in the chat here of Twitch, and for everybody on Pantheon Radio, my Twitch chat is loving McRibs, by the way. So if anybody has a McRib they can send, I'm sure they're taking donations to send people McRibs right now. But with that, I'll read some of the things up, like that, or read some of the comments here. So, will Pantheon save us? I see that one standing out to me. You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say no. Pantheon's not here to save you. Pantheon's here to provide to you what others haven't. And I'm not going to say it's going to save you. What's going to save you is yourself in finding a game, an MMO, which you can just dive into and make it your own. So will it save us all? No. Will it save some of us? Absolutely. My opinion. I think that Pantheon's going to be unique. There's going to be a lot of people that love it and absolutely adore it for everything that's worth. And I think there's going to be some that come in here and it's just not what they're looking for. So for me, Pantheon will hopefully be what saves me in my MMO faith. But for others, it may not be the ticket. And that's perfectly fine. I am accepting that at, all costs. So I'm excited to see, people's opinions. I'm excited to see what people feel about the game. I'm excited to see what people interpret when they, or how they, respond to the game when they get into it. Because, we only see streams right now of, just like a few people getting in there and experience the first time. But I've heard so many positive stories from PAX events, from TwitchCon, where people got to play the game for just a brief moment and they were just blown away. And, of course it was fans, but there was also critics involved in that too. So will it save us? Yeah, some of us it will. Others, maybe they need something different, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. And so Scribble, you prefer realistic games, realistic graphics, and I feel that. That's great. I'm definitely, like I said, I'm not against or for either one. I'm for an enjoyable gameplay experience with others. That's really what I'm down for, and at the end result, at the end of the day. So, that's on people's expectations, promotional material to be. I maybe misread that. That's on the people for expectation, if I can speak tonight, we're going to get through tonight, guys. We're going to get through it one way or another. Expecting, I'm going to get through the word. I got it. Calm down. Expecting promotional material to always be accurate visuals of the game. So I'm assuming this is referring to what Vex posted above. So let me go ahead and read that real quick. The problem with a lot of games, not just MMORPGs, is they were caught photoshopping promotional screenshots they were releasing and upsetting people when they learned the graphics were not actually that good. That's fair. You know what? I'll say it like this. I don't think I've seen anything like that in Pantheon, which I love. I absolutely love. So I've seen, from what I've seen, it's been raw streams of people getting in there, and they've had some hiccups, they've had some issues. Go back and watch the TwitchCon stream, and you'll see that it didn't go as smooth as they wanted it to. It happens. But, with that, the game looked beautiful. It looked unique, and it looked very appealing to me. And to me, I believe that was the raw format. So I'm excited to see more of that. I'm excited to continue to see things like that come out. So, I see a few people saying, I don't want the same players WoW has. Well, Scribble, I'll tell you like this. I played WoW for many, many years, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it until I didn't. Simple as that. I really enjoyed WoW gameplay, and then all of a sudden, I kind of woke up one morning and I realized that the game that I had enjoyed and kind of fallen in love with originally was gone. It was not there anymore. And once I realized that, I kind of put down the game, and I really haven't turned back or looked back at it since. Now, with that being said, I don't consider myself a bad person. I consider myself a toxic person. I don't consider myself somebody that you wouldn't want in your game. I consider myself somebody that you would absolutely want in your game. I want to build up community. I want to have social interaction. I want to be, in a living, thriving community that just has the enjoyment of playing the game together. And I'm a WoW player, so I don't think it's WoW players. I don't think it's ESO players. I don't think it's Guild War 2 players. I don't think it's any players, for example, that as a whole are toxic. I think it's when you lose focus on the community as a whole, you allow those players to really shine and stand out, because the ones who are wanting to be a part of the community and really make something special, a special experience, they're kind of pushed off to the side because there's no room for them. There's no avenue for them to excel. There's no real purpose for them to drive forward of building that community. There's no factor in place there that really makes them going out, putting together a very solid guild of solid players who are, I'm not talking about like elitists, I'm not talking about top tier players, I'm talking about a solid guild, a solid group of individuals who are fun, friendly, caring, and will go out of their way to help you out, but at the same time will also show you how to play the game. Like that used to be a thing back in the day, in at least what I remember. It used to be a thing where we used to have guilds like that, where it was like, wow, I know that guild. That's some good guys. That's some really good guys. Nowadays, no one cares about that. No one, and that's what most of these games have allowed to become, which is, it's just they haven't put in place any avenues for these people that really want that experience to be successful and to build that experience with others. So I think it's more in the games just not promoting and not allowing those people that really want to make the community a better place to thrive. They haven't really given them a platform to stand on to become, the known people that they used to be in old MMOs. Instead, they've allowed everybody to sit on an equal playing field, and really it's those infamous guys, those guys that are causing trouble, the squeaky wheel gets the grease type thing, the guys that are really making some noise. Those are the guys that normally get the most attention nowadays, which is sad, and I don't like to see that. So I'm hoping that we can see those guys be kind of pushed to the side and said, look, hey, if you want that kind of attention, great, just go get it over there in the corner and let everybody over here just have a great time and enjoy the game, enjoy the community, enjoy each other, and things like that. So, that's the kind of mindset, the culture shift that we have to get to. So, Vex, you mentioned here that EQ2 released a lot of screenshots of content that was not in the game and never added to the game, including armor, locations, and freckles on players' faces. I'll say it like this. I don't know about screenshots, but I do know that there's going to be concept art. There's going to be art drawn by the artists themselves that will probably not be exact to what's in the game. That's 100% in my mind going to happen. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. That's going to happen 100%. But when it comes to the in-game material, I believe without a shadow of a doubt, what you're going to see from Pantheon is going to be legitimately in the game. And if it's not in the game, it'll be removed for a reason. Meaning, like, let's say, for example, you see a model, and that model has to be updated later on. I think somebody mentioned the Scar earlier. So let's say if we saw the Scar, a year or two ago in game, and the Scar model just didn't work. It didn't make sense. They had to rearrange it to make it fit better into the game lore and everything like that overall. Let's imagine that got shifted, that got changed. And then come release, you're thinking, oh, well, I saw this, but it's not even in the game anymore. That's possible. That's absolutely possible. But, it's one of those deals where it maybe didn't make sense, so they had to get rid of it. They had to remove it. They had to put it off to the side so that they could put something in place that makes sense, that's positive, that's forward thinking for the game itself. So right now, from what I've seen, concept art, absolutely, I believe that the concept art will be turned into in-game art. It'll probably be very similar in most cases, but not exact. And with that being said, I do anticipate that we will see a lot of the models that we've seen in the concept art so far kind of put into the game, and I think that we're going to see a lot of the armor styles at least attempted to be recreated through the game itself. And that to me is exciting. That's very exciting. So screenshots, I don't think we'll have a problem with that. Concept art, I think some people will kind of get maybe get misled a little bit by concept art, but that's okay. It's concept art for a reason, and if people don't understand that, then we'll work through that as we can. So, I am totally sure there are great WoW people in the community, and I don't think they foster community now. WoW. That's all it is. That's it. Scribble. That's it. That's all I think. I think that there are tremendous MMO players that really value community and others, when it comes to the game. But as you said, I just don't think the game fosters a community. I don't think the game really promotes community, grouping, that, that feeling of belonging somewhere. I don't think they promote that or foster that anymore within a lot of MMOs. Not just singling out WoW, but a lot of MMOs. It's one of the reasons I'm most excited about Pantheon. It's one of the reasons I'm promoting the community aspect the most out of everything that I'm promoting, everything that I want to see come to light. The community is the key to it all. If the community is not there, if the community does not want to be there, then the game is not what it needs to be. So, guys, I'm gonna go. I'm just reading off some comments as we go through Twitch here. I'm reading off some of the chat. I know I've talked a little bit. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I've been out for a while. I know I was late tonight. I can't describe how crazy things have been lately. It's been a roller coaster of good and bad emotions. I don't even know how to start to explain it, so I'm not going to try. I'm just going to tell y'all, thank you all for bearing with me. Thank you all for hanging with me through this, because I'm trying to get things in order so that down the road, if that day ever comes where I'm able to put Pantheon at your doorstep through this stream, through this, podcast, really kind of allowing others to hear about what we're able to do, or maybe even show what we're able to do. When that day comes, when the game's released or something, I'm trying to put myself in a place where I can do that and provide the best experience, the best community, the best possible understanding of what I know, and show the best representation of the game. And I think that right now my focus is getting things in order here so that when that day comes, I'll be ready. So I appreciate y'all sticking with me. I appreciate y'all working with me, bearing with me on this. I'm going to make sure that I continue to try to stick to my schedule, and we'll try to be here every Thursday night from 10:30 to 11:30 doing a podcast live over Pantheon Radio. If you haven't checked out Pantheon Radio already, go to pantheonradio.com or go to your mobile, get on the App Store, get on the Google Play Store, look for Pantheon Radio and download that. Great music all the time. These guys are tremendous at what they do. They're really helping bring a lot of the community creators together, showcasing them and things like that. It's tremendous what they're doing. So if you haven't already, check those guys out. And then as far as the stream goes, guys, we're going to try our best. I'm going to try my best to be here for you as much as I can. Right now, you're going to have to work with me, but there's going to be a day where I'll be back on here every single night doing whatever I can to entertain you the best I can. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead. We're about 45 minutes in, guys, and I'm going to go ahead, and it's going to be a little bit short tonight, but I'm going to shut it down, and I got some other things I'm going to test on my end. So for anybody else that's here at Twitch, you can hang around with me. We'll continue to talk and have a good time. For everybody out there on Pantheon Radio, I want you to stay tuned to the podcast. Make sure that you're tuning in every Thursday night from 10:30 to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to continue to have discussions. We're going to try to get some more in-depth detail. And guys, I can talk forever. So if we have topics that really need some deep dives on, we'll just get in here and talk about one topic for a night. Otherwise, we'll get in here and we'll cover kind of a variety of different things. We're going to leave this open format. We're going to try to talk about what's important, what's relevant. We're going to try to make sure everybody's informed of it, announcements and news that's coming out, that's happening. Make sure everyone's aware of all the things that are going on within Pantheon. Later down the road, once more news starts to come out more frequently, this podcast will most likely shift into more of a news outlet than anything else. So with that being said, thank you all on Pantheon Radio for hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Everybody on Twitch, if you want to hang out for a little bit longer, you're more than welcome to stand by. I got some tests I'm going to run tonight, so could use a little help. But other than that, thanks so much. Again, check out pantheonradio.com, and we will see y'all next Thursday. Night, guys.